Hello and welcome to Wasted Plotential, where we discuss the wasted potential of our friend Scaly Husbandos. Reptile is a character I've really struggled with, honestly, since the only real suggestion I had was let him revive his race already, Raiden, damn it. This has been his arc since like 1993, and he's only made progress in non-canon endings, which are all the same thing over and over and make him a very static and boring character. I mean, all Reptile really has going for him at this point is his friendship with Kotal Khan, which is really only a factor in the comic and a couple of intros, but I've been given a few pretty good suggestions by commenters that I've been able to expand on to create what I think are some pretty interesting ideas.
Oh, and by the way, since you guys wanted this, if this video doesn't do numbers, I'm never going to listen to you arseholes again.
One idea proposed by Slurpy the dog is to have Saurians not actually be long-lived like Outworlders, Edenians, etc., but to instead have Reptile be given longevity by Shang Tsung like Eren Black was. This is a deal Reptile takes regardless of what Shang Tsung intends for him, as it allows his race to live on through him and gives him longer to find a way to revive them. Some further elaboration would be required, I think, as Shang is presumed to have been in Shao Kahn's employ for a millennium at most. As such, we need to either explain how Reptile is still alive after his people were wiped out at least 10 millennia ago, or that the race lived on but slowly dwindled since then until only one was left, which is a lot less impactful than most of them dying in a devastating battle and most of the rest dying off soon after. On a related note, I have this idea of Chameleon and Chameleon being artificial Saurians created by Shang Tsung, possibly in a genuine bid to revive them, be it out of obligation to Khan, intellectual curiosity, to challenge himself, or just because he views Reptile as a friend or faithful servant and wants to see his hard work rewarded. This could lead to an idea I cooked up when discussing the topic with Yanni and Timo from the Realmcast. The Saurian population is coming back thanks to these artificial ones from the Flesh Pits, maybe with the help of Nitara if we establish the Moroi as being capable of manipulating the Flesh Pits, creating a more mutually beneficial relationship for the two than in the old timeline, as Reptile then helps her to restore Eternus. But just as things are looking up for Reptile, the original Saurians are discovered in Earthrealm. This then leads to a race war between the two sects, the originals viewing the others as abominations and Reptile as a heretic for his part in their creation, leading to Reptile being ostracized by the very race he worked so hard to restore. And it now falls to Reptile to end this war before it reduces the Saurian numbers to near extinction again. This could even lead to Reptile washing his hands of the Saurians completely, finding them to be too intolerant and bloodthirsty to be worth saving. He allows them to wipe each other out and decides to let his race die with some honour when he, as the last of them once again, eventually dies. Bfeld's 1023 suggested the idea of having someone else be Onaga's host while Reptile is still involved with that plot. So here's my take on that. Other Saurians are discovered in Earthrealm. There aren't many, but some still exist. Kotal grants them land in Outworld at Reptile's insistence and gives Reptile leave to tend to his people and help them with repopulation and protection. Then, as word spreads, Onaga's worshippers discover this and plot to use them in Onaga's revival. They stage an attack on the Saurian lands and capture the matriarch. She becomes possessed by Onaga, and thanks to it being her body, the Saurian compulsion to obey their matriarch makes them an army for Onaga to use until he can reacquire his undefeatable army. Reptile's role here is either the whole distance from a matriarch leading to de-evolution thing having already been dropped by the Netherrealm games, instead becoming that his time away from one has made him less dependent on her and thus able to disobey. Maybe his fealty to Kotal plays a part in this too. Either way, Reptile is not a puppet of Onaga this time, but his people are. Now, Reptile either sets off to save his people with Kotal's help, maybe with Chameleon or Chameleon as Onaga's primary enforcer, or he's forced to oppose his friend by Onaga threatening to use the Saurians more recklessly and endanger the endangered species further. A few people suggested having Reptile feel some sort of conflict over his allegiance once Shao Kahn returns in MK11, but why would he? Kotal is his friend and Shao was his master who tried to have him assassinated. There would be no conflict there. For his past self, however, there might be something there. He probably still thinks Shao Kahn is undefeatable since Liu Kang hasn't beaten him yet. Acting as a spy, stealthing through Kotal's base, he observes his future self and Kotal and how Kotal genuinely treats Syzoth as an equal, and Syzoth exposits about their friendship and its origins. Syzoth himself is very much aware of his past self's presence, but chooses to cautiously allow him to stick around, knowing that seeing how things will turn out for him will seed doubt in his mind, which he can later use to make him switch sides. This could happen during the second Colosseum battle, Reptile switching sides when it's clear that his future friend doesn't stand a chance otherwise, or he could help Jade escape from Scarlet and join the good guys here, then help in the final battle alongside his future self. And then he could be guarding Kotal's recovery and aftermath to get a bit more use out of him. And one more thing, I get that Reptile's costume was given to Scorpion in MK11 because Reptile's original moveset in MK1 was based on Scorpion's, but Sub-Zero has a spherical projectile, a slide, and Steve Bloom on vocals, so if they'd given the skin to him and added a new option to replace the Ice Ball with the Force Ball, it would have been considerably cooler. If you liked this video, why not subscribe and support me on Patreon because there's a lot more MK goodness coming this month for Mortal May. If not, then make sure to share it with your enemies so they can suffer along with you. Today's recommended video is Mortal Kombat Reptile tier list by Sonic Heart XD. His opinion is bad and smelly and horny, but the custom render I used in this video was made in response to that, and I saw no other excuse to highlight the fact that I made it other than to mention his video. I mean, the video's fine, I guess.